Now, a few weeks ago, I did a video indicating that one of the things that obviously is going to definitely impact our economy over and above high inflation, over and above increase in interest rate hikes was load shedding. I mean, you remember that this is one of the things that obviously a company or a big financial institution like Nedbank came out and decreased their, of course, GDP for the year in this country to about 1.6%. And one of the main factors, or one of the main things that resulted or made them to decrease the GDP of this country was due to load shedding. Now, I remember a few weeks ago, of course, we read, I shared with you an article I read about analysts indicating that this load shedding, or the load shedding that we get sometime on a day-to-day, will end up affecting businesses here in South Africa. I think it was estimated that due to load shedding in the future, we might see South Africa losing about 4 billion rands on a day-to-day due to this load shedding, which is something that is not good at all. You remember that for a company like Sibanye-Stillwater also came in and did indicate that this load shedding will make them to end up reducing, or it will affect the production in their mines, which is something that obviously it was not good. Now, ladies and gents, yesterday with all this, we got to hear, of course, the president, of course, addressing us on the issue of load shedding and Eskom. And I must say that though to some others obviously was not that clear, but to some others, I think, including businesses, I think we might have found a solution, or we might be getting to a solution based on, of course, what, of course, we heard the president say. Now, before we get deep to exactly what I just heard or what we heard yesterday, you already know that this video is just an entertainment video and you should not take it as a professional financial advice now. Otherwise, if you seek professional financial advice, you already know what to do by now, and that is you need to go out there and consult the professionals. Now, if you like this video or this kind of content that I'm giving you, please consider hitting the likes button, comment and subscribe. And once you subscribe, don't forget to hit the notification bell so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time I drop a new content. Now, as I'm saying, load shedding is one of the things that, ladies and gents, we have seen based on articles, based on, of course, news that we read or heard in the past, that it can easily affect or have a huge impact on companies here in SA. And ladies and gents, to those that are investing in the stock market like me and you, or to the retail investors that invest in the stock market like you and me, it just definitely means that obviously we might see the companies we invest in not performing the way they should. Because, like, say for instance, if you get to see or check a company like Sibanye-Stillwater, which is publicly listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the fact that they say load shedding can affect their production, then that just means that obviously their revenues are going to be impacted. And when their revenues get impacted, the share price won't perform as much, because one of the things that continues attracting investors to invest into a company, it's when they see that the revenues continue growing over the years, which with load shedding you can't guarantee that, especially that the production of many businesses, including Sibanye-Stillwater, can easily be affected by that. Now, one of the solution, or one of the main things that, to me, of course, in the president's speech yesterday, was when we got to see that one of the solutions that, of course, the government intends to do to try to mitigate, of course, the power outages that we have time and again, is that they will be, of course, going to buy, obviously, electricity from some private power producers, which is something that obviously with that, for now, it can make us, or it will make obviously Eskom to not have shortages of power, as it can, or it will have an option to also procure power from private producers. Now, I know to some, of course, this kind, or this statement, when it went out there, yeah, they did not like it, because probably they're thinking that obviously this might lead into, of course, privatizing Eskom, which, yeah, I don't want to get much into that. But me personally, how I think that will be good is that obviously, you know, that we were told, or we know by for sure now, that Eskom in terms of the power that it produces, maybe it's not enough or sufficient, which getting to see that obviously one of the solution will be to get, of course, power from the private generators or from the other private companies that might have a surplus. It's one of the things that makes me to be really excited to say that it might mean that in the short term there is hope. We might not get to see power cuts, as of course Eskom will have an alternative to obviously buy or get electricity from other power producers or those companies that have surplus when it comes to electricity. So this will result in obviously most companies continue running, most of us continue having or getting electricity, which is one of the things that I personally think that it's a good thing. And that problem of saying that load shedding can be one of the big factors that affects our GDP for the year might obviously fade away with time, as of course Eskom will, like I said, will have an option to obviously go and procure more power from private of course institutions, from private generators, which is something that is incredible. So this to me was good news, because companies like Sibanye-Stillwater, it definitely means that they won't be affected or impacted by much when it comes to production, which means, or which might also result in most of the companies not being affected or impacted by this load shedding. Well, I know that probably it's still early days. We don't know if whether what the government or what the president said yesterday we are going to see it, or if whether we are going to see it, and if it's coming, how soon it will come. But all we know is that they are considering getting power from other private generators, which is something that is incredible. And I personally believe that it will be one of the things that will seriously revive our economy. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I just thought I should just give you this quick update as to what is it that we got to get, or what is the main thing that personally I got to, of course, take from the president's speech yesterday, which, yeah, I personally believe that it's a good thing or a good sign, especially to us, the retail investors that invest in companies like Sibanye-Stillwater, which has listed in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, because then it means that they won't be, like I said, impacted by much in terms of the revenue they generate, in terms of the other key aspects of their businesses, which is something that is incredible, and something that obviously it continues to motivate me to want to look into more companies locally, because this is one of the main things, or one of the main problems, that as a retail investor it was sort of like discouraging me to look into some of the local companies, or some of the local publicly listed companies in the JSE. So with this kind of news we heard yesterday, I personally believe that one can start obviously looking at adding one or two companies here and there, as you know that, of course, impact like load shedding, which was a serious thing to companies, won't be there by much. And one of the things that as a retail investor I will look into is obviously check if how soon this thing will be implemented, or if we are going to see or get to see this thing being implemented, which obviously if it gets implemented, it's good news. And I'm going to obviously load the boat on some of the local or publicly listed companies on the JSE. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey. And before you load the boat, increase your holdings on the publicly listed companies in the JSE, even in the New York Stock Exchange. Please consider doing your own due diligence so that at least you can be comfortable when you are investing into these stocks. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey. And God bless you all.